Hey guys, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy it, and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 most wanted DC Omnibus. So my only rule for this really is that this Omnibus that I want or on this list cannot be a reprint. So this is just something that's either been solicited before and taken off solicitations, or something that I just think would be super cool to have in Omnibus format that we don't already. So let's dive into it. Before we start, disclaimer, this is my own opinion. You can disagree with me, and that's completely fine because that's your opinion. This is just my opinion. This is not numbered, so there's no tiering or anything. These are all on an equal spectrum here, but we will be going through 1 through 10, but they're not ranked in such a way. But yeah, if you guys have any most wanted DC Omnibus prints, let me know. Leave a comment and tell me what you guys want, because I'm curious to see what anyone else is actually interested in. Alright, so the first wanted DC Omnibus is a deceased Omnibus. Now, it's a Tom Taylor Omnibus, and I would love to see that. So, in general, I have loved Deceased. I read Dead Planet in its single issues. I haven't read Hope at World's End because that was a digital first, if I'm not mistaken. I read Unkillables digitally. I have the actual Deceased hardcover, and I've loved it. Tom Taylor's writing is something spectacular. I really think, he's definitely making a name for himself, even bigger than before, and I just love his content. Deceased is just such a cool Elseworld story too. For those of you who don't know, it's literally like, what if a zombie apocalypse hit the DC universe, but one that was fueled partially by the anti-life equation, so it's pretty much unstoppable. And I just think that's so cool. We get to see characters and how they deal with different situations, having to quarantine aspects of the world, and like having to protect the speedsters, because if a speedster gets infected, bro, you're basically saying you're infecting everybody because they can run fast as hell. So I think a Deceased Omnibus would be great, just collecting the main Deceased run, Deceased Unkillables, Deceased Dead Planet, as well as Hope at World's End. Now this would be a pretty big omnibus, if I'm not mistaken, probably like pretty thick, but I think they can do it. I've loved this run so far. I haven't found a single person who hasn't enjoyed Deceased to some extent. So, I mean, at that point, like, an omnibus just seems like a smooth idea, like a good idea. I've seen other people vouching for it too, and Tom Taylor just constantly pulling out bangers. The Deceased Hope at World's End Collected Edition just came out in paper, so I'm hoping that soon enough we will get a Deceased Omnibus. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm looking at getting some Flash by Mark Waid in oversized. So a Flash by Mark Waid Omnibus. Now, if you look up here, I do have them in paperback because that's really the best way to collect them right now. There's no oversized format. There's no omnibus. And I feel like they could probably collect that run easily within 3 volumes, I'd say. And I think that'd just be great because then you could have, you'd have your Mark Waid Omnibus, and then you'd have the Jeff Johns Omni, and then maybe like the Flashpoint Omni, and then the New 52. Like, I think that would be super cool to have Mark Waid's run in oversized. Now, it sounds kind of weird because I actually haven't read through Mark Waid's run yet. I've just heard so much about it, and me personally, I like to collect all in similar format. I'm phasing out my paperbacks to get omnis, so if there were a way to get, this collection in an omnibus format, I think that'd just be super, super awesome. That's number 2. Number 3, a Flash Rebirth Omnibus. So in other words, a Joshua Williamson Flash Omnibus. I mean, now that his run is over, I feel like it's the perfect opportunity to collect it in, omnibus format. There are the deluxe editions, but they didn't even fully collect his run in deluxe editions. They stopped after, I think, like book 3 or 4, which was really unfortunate. So you can only really have certain aspects of it collected in oversized art. I mean, his run, like I said, like it started off really quick, kind of slowed down towards the end, but I still think it was an excellent run. So I really hope they put this into an omnibus format, mostly just because Rebirth is basically where I started, and I really have enjoyed it. And you'll see that as a pattern as we go through this list as well. I just really enjoyed the Flash Rebirth run, and I'm still enjoying the DC Universe Flash. The new author, Adams, picking it up, Jeremy Adams. Really love what he's doing with the Flash so far, with Wally West as the main Flash. I'm hoping it goes in a good direction and that we get to see a bit of a redemption arc for Wally. So yeah, that is number 3. Coming in at number 4, the Batman Rebirth Omnibus, or in other words, basically Tom King's run in an omnibus format. Now, obviously, there'd have to be more than one of these. Same goes for the Joshua Williamson. There'd have to be multiple volumes for these runs to be put in omnibus format. I'm just talking about, like, kind of stories or runs or author runs that I'd like collected in omnibus format. I have the deluxe 1 through 5s. Unfortunately, the 5th one got damaged in a move, but that's what can you do. But I seriously was super sad that literally they collected the first 5 deluxe editions of Batman, and then for the last 2 or 3 volumes of his run, they just didn't put it in oversized format. So here I am sitting with almost the entire run in oversized, and then I have paperback. I'm like, okay, well, obviously the only way I'm going to get it all collected into oversized is if they make omnis of it. So I'm really hoping they make omnis of it. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of mixed opinions about Tom King's Batman. I mean, in my opinion, in most people's opinion, at least from my understanding, Tom King's run started off strong, but then it kind of lost its steam, which I can kind of see. It really depends on how you like Batman written. They were definitely delving more into the soft side of Batman, his romance with Catwoman and his Bat family. And I feel like while some, more experienced readers might not like this because they're used to the dark, gritty, and really hard to, not hard to sympathize with, but a really dark and gritty Batman. Tom King kind of started off with that element, but it kind of turned more into almost like a bit of a rom-com. There was a whole few issues where him and Superman switch costumes to go to a fair for a costume event. And I thought that was cool though, because I like more than just superhero stories. I like to actually get to know the heroes behind the capes, which is part of why I also like Heroes in Crisis. But, there are some people who won't share my opinion on that, and that's absolutely fine. I understand. Everyone has their own opinion. Number 5. This one, I honestly don't know why this isn't already done. I guess they're still finishing the Absolute, so it makes sense. But Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. I really enjoyed this run, and I think that this should be collected in omnibus format. Now, yes, we have the Absolutes. We have 1, 2, and the third one either recently came out or is coming out very soon. But my favorite format is omnis. I don't have any absolutes, so I kind of just want to keep the theme going of omnibus. So I think it'd be just super cool to get a Swamp Thing by Alan Moore omnibus. Honestly, I think if you really wanted to fit it into some thick omnis, you could probably get 2 omnis total, where you get 1.5 absolutes in each omni to make the 3 absolutes, or basically the entire run. I think that could be done, but then again, I am also not a publisher. I don't know how how binding works with that many pages and stuff, so that's just kind of a personal opinion and something that I think would be really cool to have in an oversized omnibus format, because the absolutes are out there. Number 6, Justice League New 52 Omnibus Volume 2. So I know that seems a little preemptive considering the first one is still technically not to release for another week or two. But I really enjoyed Justice League New 52. It was probably the second run that I actually read, aside from Batman New 52, and it's part of what got me into comics. Now, when I said earlier in the video that I started with Rebirth, that's because that's where I started with single issues. I started with Rebirth, but when it comes to collected, reading stories that had come out previously, buying the paperbacks, New 52 was kind of my jam. Sorry, Mad Dog, I don't mean to steal that from you. But New 52 Justice League, I think, definitely deserves a second volume. I'm not sure if they've solicited or announced or hinted towards it yet. I don't think so, considering the first one hasn't even come out yet, so they don't even know the sales of it. But I really hope they follow it up with the second Omni. I just think it's much needed. Jim Lee and Jeff Johns together in a book. Yeah, come on, print that second omnibus. I want to see it happen, alright? Now, this is another one. I'm not sure if a lot of people agree with me on this one. But Dark Knight's Metal Omnibus, which honestly, I don't know whether that would be 1 or 2 volumes. I wasn't following the Metal event when it came out initially. I just kind of read the paperbacks and kind of picked up on that and joined in with the Death Metal tie-ins and everything, which there were a lot of. So I'm not sure whether or not Metal itself has enough content to be put into a full big Omni, or if it would be a thinner one. But I just love to see it, because I know that Metal is still a fairly new event, but it was part of what got me into comics alongside the Rebirth and stuff like that, so I just think that'd be really cool to have in omnibus format. Number 8, kind of a follow-up to the last one, Dark Knight's Death Metal Omnibus. Now, I know the event basically just wrapped up this past year, but like I loved pretty much all of it. There were some issues where I thought, okay, that was kind of definitely a bit of a filler, but it was new and it was dark and gritty, and I really liked that. I think you'll find that pretty common on my channel. I have literally every single tie-in issue, all the main issues. I bought them all in singles, and now I just like to have them in a collected oversized. So getting Dark Knight's Death Metal Omnibus would be great, but my gosh, there's a lot of content there. I'm honestly not sure whether that would be 1 or 2 volumes or how that would be collected, because I didn't really do too much research into the paper numbers, like page numbers, but I would love to see that in omnibus format, both of them. I've been waiting for those to come out. So yeah, really, really hoping those come out. Number 9. Now this is one that was actually solicited, but then got removed, which really bummed me out. And that's the new Teen Titans Omnibus Volume 6. In my notes, I just have bring it back, please, because that's literally what I want. I mean, I literally just picked up volumes 1 through 5, and then as I got the 5th volume in, I checked and saw that the 6th omnibus was now slated to release in like 2070 something, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So that definitely got unsolicited, and yep, of course it did. And that's just super, super, a big bummer to me, because I would just like to see the entire, new Teen Titans run, like the run that literally, for DC was its Uncanny X-Men. Like those two were competitors for the longest time. I'd like to see that fully collected in omnibus format. And knowing that I have 1 through 5 means that like I want 6 that much more. So I really, really hope that they put that one out sooner than later, or that they resolicit it at least. I would just love to see it come out. Number 10, the final omnibus on my wish list. One that honestly I have zero clue whether or not they're gonna do it, because this run is still technically new and ongoing, but thus far I've loved it so much to the point where I do want an omnibus. I'm sure about that right now. At least for what's been released for most recently, I would love to see that in oversized format, and that is Batman by James Tynion, the 4th omnibus. I mean, like I said, he's still doing Batman, so like I don't think they're gonna release an omnibus anytime soon. But whether that be a few years down the line, or even more, I would love to see this run collected and oversized. I mean, for a lot of fans who didn't enjoy Tom King's Batman, I feel like Tynion's run is a good way to get back into Batman if you kind of were pushed away by Tom King's writing, because Tynion kind of delves more back into the detective work, the darker sides of being the Dark Knight. Now, don't get me wrong, Tom King did touch on it, but in his own unique way. So, yeah, the James Tynion run's been really great so far, and I'm hoping that once it's, complete, unfortunately, because everything, even good things come to an end eventually, I would love to see that in omnibus format, because I've been collecting the singles ever since it came out, and I have a couple of the trades, so I would love to see that collected in omnibus format. But yeah, that's all 10 of my most wanted DC omnibus. I'll probably be making one for Marvel sometime down the line. Let me know what you guys thought about this list. I mean, I know it's a bit ambitious. There's a lot of stuff in here that, I mean, like, has been unsolicited. Really, I don't even know much about the sales, but like just on personal opinions, what I've enjoyed and what I think other people have enjoyed, I think would be really great to see collected in omnibus format. If you guys, agree or disagree, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm completely open. We each have our own opinions, and that's what's awesome about it being a human being. We're all unique in that way, right? So yeah, make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe and healthy, guys. Love y'all.